Good morning. Today is Friday, October 7th, and it's the last day of our Road Scholar Tour.
We'll be back probably 11:30 at the latest. Checkout is 12, but they are usually pretty nice about letting you have a little longer if you need it.
Yeah, us too. Today we're going to the Woodrow Wilson Presidential Library and Museum, which is a complex located in Staunton, Virginia. This complex contains the president's birthplace, known as the Manse, a museum that explores the life and times of Woodrow Wilson, and a 7,000 square foot research library, a gift shop, and several other buildings that are not open to the public. We will have a guided tour of the Manse, and then it'll be self-guided through the museum. Woodrow Wilson was born in Staunton, Virginia on December 28, 1856. He was the third of four children of Janet Woodrow and Joseph Wilson, a Presbyterian minister. He spent his childhood in Georgia and South Carolina and graduated from Princeton in 1879. Wilson attended the University of Virginia Law School, and in 1885 he married Ellen Axon. He earned his doctorate at Johns Hopkins University in 1886. In 1890, Wilson began a distinguished career at Princeton University, where he was named president in 1902.
So Woodrow Wilson's father was a Presbyterian minister. So I'm going to be talking to you about life in a Presbyterian manse in the 1850s. So we're going to go over to the back of the manse, and the grounds didn't look like they do today. They actually had a very small-sized working farm, so you would have seen a few chickens, cows, and hogs, and they had various outbuildings. And on the same side of the street where you have Mary Baldwin University, that's where the original building was, the church. And later on, the church got relocated across the street, the second building, which was built in 1870. So I'll point that out to you where people attend services today. And that's the first Presbyterian church. Because the congregation there agreed to pay him $3,000 a year.
So he would be considered highly sought after.
Yes. I would need to tell you a little background information. So they talk about all of the mourning traditions that would have been done in a minister's house. So I'll talk a little bit about it, but I'm not going to go into great.
We've walked around to the front side of the building to tour the first floor.
This is actually a display model.
The current decorations reflect having a funeral in the parlor.
The mirrors were actually covered. There's father. He was actually born in this room on December the 28th, 1856. We actually know that there was a family doctor here because the tall case clock that you saw in the hallway, that belonged to Dr. Joseph Waddell. So years later, his great-great niece gave us the clock back when this opened as the Woodrow Wilson birthplace. This was also the parents' bedroom. So Reverend Wilson was called out during the night, so he had the bedroom here, not upstairs, because he wouldn't disturb the rest of the household. And also your bed was your finest possession, so you wanted it to be displayed when you came in the front door.
We've now gone upstairs to see the top floor.
Here toward the end, he actually, his two oldest daughters are Jessie, were
Now we're going to do the self-guided tour of the museum. This museum covers the life and times of Woodrow Wilson, from childhood to professor of Princeton to governor of New Jersey, and finally to becoming president of the United States. In 1912, the Democrats nominated Wilson for president. The Republican Party had already split over their choice for a presidential candidate. Conservative Republicans renominated President William Taft, while the progressive wing broke off to form the Bull Moose Party and nominated Theodore Roosevelt, who had served as president from 1901 to 1909. With the Republicans divided, Wilson, who campaigned on a platform of liberal reform, won 435 electoral votes, compared to 88 for Roosevelt and only 8 for Taft. Thomas Woodrow Wilson became the 28th President of the United States. He was not only an American scholar and statesman, but he's best remembered for his legislative accomplishments and his high-minded idealism. Wilson led our country into World War I and became the creator and leading advocate of the League of Nations, for which he was awarded the 1919 Nobel Prize for Peace. During his second term, the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, giving women the right to vote, was passed and ratified. When Woodrow Wilson returned from France after negotiating the Treaty of Versailles in early 1919, a new Pierce Arrow limousine awaited for him at the dock in New York to take him back to Washington. The automobile had just been added to the White House fleet. Wilson favored this automobile so much that when he left office, his friends purchased it for him to use. Before we leave, I'm going to go over and check out the gift shop. It's time to leave. We're going back to the Hyatt Hotel where our boxed lunch is waiting for us. Pat and I have a few extra hours before our flight, so we're going to drive over to the Blue Mountain Brewery.
Weren't we someplace where they distilled vodka? Isn't that like in...
You probably have lots of room in your suitcase.
I have a little
Do you?
run around.
All right, so I have the kabuchi. This is our bread pudding. Bread pudding.
Yes.
And Pat got the Blue Mountain apple
Cider.
apple hard cider. Okay. It's time to head to the airport to return our car and fly home to Denver.